Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with the juice to get you through the long
Penis.
So we were trying to wait for Mandy. Mandy's internet just went kaput. But she'll be joining us as soon as she gets back. Good evening on this beautiful Friday night, everyone. We have Alicia back and Aris here, and we're going to be talking about the one true dragon, Faegon or Aegon. Let me poll the chat real quick. Is it Aegon? Is Aegon real or is he fake? Put dragons if he's real, and if he's fake, put the poo poo.
Why you gotta make him poo poo?
Because they lying out here. If he's fake, they have a really intricate lie too.
Hey, I have some things to say about that lie.
Honestly, listen, I'm splitting hairs here, but is it actually a lie when the Blackfires are actually Targaryens with a different name?
The only lie just can be a technicality of whose child it is, but the same bloodline, so it's technically fair game.
So he can still be a dragon. He can still be a dragon, but he's not Rhaegar's son.
It don't matter. Yes.
Why not? That's a lie. That's their whole thing. Like that, their whole thing is on. But some of us on the panel are almost convinced that Aegon is real. Some of us are convinced that Aegon is fake.
I don't know if we'll ever get the true answer, and I think it would be better storytelling if we don't. Like, I'll be pissed if I know one way or another.
I don't think we're gonna get the answer either.
I don't. We don't have paternity tests. There's no Maury in Westeros. How are we supposed to know?
Yeah. So Aegon is really, 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 really going to change the story. So when people were talking about like the end of Game of Thrones season 8, Game of Thrones, the TV show, didn't have Aegon. And Aegon is a big factor in the things that are going to go on in Westeros and Dany's storyline as well. And it's just kind of like, so we didn't get any Aegon. So Aegon's going to change the landscape of what's going to go down in Winds of Winter a lot. One of the major things is there's no way that Dany's going to come to Westeros with the support of Varys, House Martell, and House Tyrell.
So I was kind of thinking about Dany and House Martell, and there are parts of me that feel like Doran will want more story before he jumps to the conclusion that Dany killed Quentin or had him killed. I think Arianne is definitely going to be of that mind that Dany murdered her brother. However, I definitely think that Aegon will marry Arianne, but I can also see him trying to take 2 wives.
Yeah.
So, however, I have another thought. Like, no matter what, I feel like he's going to try to take 2 wives. Who those 2 wives are, I kind of go back and forth. Like, I think he'll still try to marry Dany, despite the fact that he already married Arianne. And I think her only conflict with being one of 2 wives, because I think she's kind of freaky like that. You know, I think her only issue would be that it's Dany. So I think there would be she'd probably do her best to manipulate Aegon against Daenerys. However, I don't know. I'll wait till it's a little more relevant timeline-wise when we get more into it in the episode. But I have an idea of who he might try to take as a second wife.
So. Tulkas 420 says Marjorie.
I actually, I'll just say it now. I think he's going to try to emulate his father a little bit, or who he thinks is his father. And I think he'll go for Sansa as a second wife at some point for whatever political reason.
So you would think Sansa reveals herself as herself, if you will, to the Vale?
Yes. So I think that'll like kind of check off 2 boxes, being the Tourney of Ashford theory. It would explain why she would have a Targaryen suitor if the Ashford tourney theory is true. And I also think it would just kind of like echo his supposed father going for a Martell and a Stark woman.
That also goes with my theory that after everything falls apart with Harry the Heir, Littlefinger is going to take her south and try to get her feet in the door with Faegon.
It's canon. And think about it too. She is all the spice anyone needs, or she's the only spice that anyone needs. And Aegon's the only dragon anyone needs. And they can make one spicy dragon.
Can't stand you.
I can't stand myself.
Spicy dragon.
Spicy dragon.
I was gonna say with I could definitely see Sansa and Littlefinger taking Sansa south, because I personally think, I might be jumping ahead. I think Faegon's taking King's Landing.
Agreed.
I think that's going to be his thing. So Peter obviously wanting to play power moves, but at the same time, I don't see him giving up Sansa because he's creepy like that, like super creepy. Like he's attached to her. Like he doesn't want to. I think George said in an interview actually that he wouldn't really give up Sansa. Like Peter wouldn't give her up like that.
There's something very, not that I think it's the perfect parallel, but for whatever reason, it's the first thing that popped into my mind. Moulin Rouge, that really creepy Duke that thinks he just owns Satine in every way. I don't know if y'all have seen Moulin Rouge. It's an excellent movie. But
what happens with Marcella?
She dies. Yeah, she does a big dead. I don't know how though. I haven't really theorized that.
I'm just trying to see like Dorne's side of things. So Dorne has a foot in with Marcella.
Is there a chance she gets an infected boo-boo before she I
think, you mean like how her ear almost fell off? Maybe.
Yeah, I think something
it's
like
cut
that.
clear off her face.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I think she'll probably die maybe from possibly a grayscale outbreak. But anyway.
Or maybe the show though could have
a lot of people gonna die.
Maybe it could be too, like whoever's treating her wounds slowly poisons her as well. And it could kind of like emulate a very sloppy season 5, just moments after the bad pussy line.
Don't. Let's not.
Can we throw that out there that everything that happened in the show with Dorne doesn't count?
Except for bad pussy.
That doesn't count either.
That don't count, girl.
Bad pussy.
He wasn't even there. He wouldn't even be there.
The whole Dorne storyline is such a mess. Like, why Jaime and fucking Bronn of all people?
Bad pussy.
Yeah.
Jaime got one hand.
All for that one line.
I'm just gonna
someone in the story room said bad pussy, and they're like, yes, write a whole storyline around that.
You want a good girl, but you need a bad pussy.
Okay,
Genius.
but to be fair, I loved when Arya Hoda bested Jaime, and he was like, when you were whole, it would have been a good fight.
Bad pussy.
Yeah.
That trumps bad pussy.
Alicia, let's just get matching tattoos.
Bad pussy. Yeah. It's gonna say on one side you want a good girl, but you need a bad pussy.
I will die.
I'm gonna stop.
I'll disown you.
Watch. This is gonna be the one episode my dad decides to tune in for, and I'm like, bad pussy. Sorry, Dad.
So Faegon. Let's talk about, is he real? These moving pieces, all the people that are moving with him, what he brings to the story, what he adds to the story. And also I want to talk about how he affects Daenerys' story. I'll go first. I do not think Aegon is real. I also don't know if he's a Blackfire. I think some of the the best lies have a little bit of truth to them. So they tell Faegon, the story is that some guy at Pisswater's End or something, Pisswater Bend, just swapped Aegon with his son. And we're supposed to believe Elia, like, trusted Varys with her son.
Right.
And,
Yeah, take my baby. Go ahead.
and said, okay, it's okay. My son can go with you so he won't die. But fuck my daughter. She'll stay here with me and die with me. Like,
Right. And we're also supposed to accept that paranoid ass Ares didn't say, who the fuck is this child in my court? Like,
yeah.
he was paranoid about everything. He would have freaked out if the baby came back looking like a different baby one day.
Yeah. So what I think happened is that they took Varys saw that little baby Aegon's face was all fucked up, and he went down to Pisswater Bend and found somebody that looked like a Arain Waters and sent a baby and sent them off like he did Tyrion.
You know, it might not necessarily have to be a piss water baby, as it's called. I think, yeah, piss water baby. Anyway, it could have been a Dragonstone baby because there are plenty of dragon seed either on Driftmark or Dragonstone. That baby could have come from anywhere. However, I mean, we're kind of arguing that Aegon actually died. And then I don't know. I think if you remember in Blood of the Dragon, after Rhaenyra was murdered and then her brother died of poisoning, so Aegon III took the throne. For a very short while, the sex workers were trying to say that little boy that ended up being Aegon's best friend / whipping boy, that he was like Aegon II's son, or he was king or whatever, and he was just a random platinum blonde baby. Could be the same concept.
Yeah.
Could be.
Oh, go ahead, R.
I have thoughts. All right. So I'm gonna be that guy here. I think he could possibly be real. And the reason why I don't completely doubt it is fundamentally, if I had the opportunity to save at least or potentially save one of my children, I can't do both, I'm at least getting one of them out of there. And especially in that society, it's very patriarchal. The boy is very important to them in the family dynasty. Not only that, an infant, because figure baby Aegon would have been a couple months old. Their faces change all the time. Rhaenys is like 3. 3-year-old's kind of harder to switch, especially one that looks Dornish. Like you said, this baby looks like a little dragon seed. Again, Dragonstone, Driftmark are in the Crownlands. They're like right off of King's Landing. You could easily swap a baby that way. And again, as a mom, knowing how crazy fucking Aerys is, if Varys, who I know is obviously not super trustworthy, but I know he'd be capable of getting my child out of there because he has the connections. Yeah, I'm gonna send my son, because figure Rhaenyra actually tried doing that with her 2 sons. One of them gets away, sorta. This was it Viserys that gets away.
Yeah.
Viserys, and then
comes back later.
Aegon gets away. Viserys is captured and taken to Lys,
and then comes back later.
Okay, that's the one I'm talking about. Viserys, the one. Sorry, not get away, but Viserys, the one that goes to Lys, and then comes back. So again, another Targaryen that went east and then eventually comes back. But it reminds me of the Accursed King series, if you guys have ever read it. George R.R. Martin is quoted in the foreword saying it's like the original Game of Thrones. It's a historical drama that takes place in France right before the events of the 100 Years' War. Long story short, there is a baby swap with the king and his milk brother, if you will. So they switched the wet nurse's baby with the actual king because his dad died before he was born. So this is an infant that's technically king because, laws of succession, whatever. So baby, milk brother, at the baby's christening, the guardian of the baby decides to swap him with his milk brother, and someone ends up poisoning the milk brother thinking it's the baby king. So no one ever, the guardian and the mother of the actual child who got killed, they know the identity, like, oh, that wasn't the real king that died. It was her baby, but it was another baby, more or less. That baby ends up going and getting raised by, not like, kind of like how Faegon gets raised, like, you know, work with your hands, live with the common folk, but eventually finds out who he really is. But he goes back, like the kid in the story, he goes back to try to claim his birthright. Fortunately, he dies and nobody believes him. So I like that tragedy of like, oh, this person, that's the actual person who they're saying who they say they are, but nobody believes them. I love that tragedy. Like, it's so messed up, but we'll never really know.
And I think that's like what's going on. And I will say that there's one thing in A Dance with Dragons that makes me think that Faegon may not be so fake. And it's in the epilogue when Varys kills Sir Kevin Lannister and he's telling him that Aegon is here. Like, Aegon is here. He's blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, well, Kevin is dying. There's no reason to lie. There's no reason to lie to him. Yep.
I mean, whether he is actually Aegon Rhaegar's son or a completely different child, let's just say, I mean, the most popular theory is that he's a Blackfire. His name could still very legitimately from birth, his given name could be Aegon. It's not beyond, especially if they believe that he has Targaryen / Blackfire blood. However, one thing it reminds me of, there's a little bit of a difference here because, I mean, there are no DNA tests in Westeros versus modern technology. If you remember the Romanovs, after they were mass executed and then unceremoniously thrown into pits, there was hot debate about whether or not Anastasia made it out. And there was a woman, I think her name was like Anna Anderson or something. I could be making up that name.
No, that was it.
She claimed she was the lost Princess Anastasia until the day she died sometime in the 90s. And they only recently, I think in like the early 2000s, were genetically able to prove that everybody died. Westeros is not like that. So, I mean, I kind of hate that they proved it because as a kid, I was like, so mysterious, you know, but I do think that I hope we never quite know. The only parts of me that feel like Aegon is not actually a Targaryen is I feel like that is a huge plot point to just kind of decide you're going to go with later on. Like, it's such a big aspect of the story to garden into rather than having it in your original outline. And there's a part of me that just can't compute it all. Like, even though I picked up the books in like 2013, so it was like 2 years after A Dance of Dragons was even written. So it's not like, oh, I've been reading the books all these years and now all of a sudden, like, boom, Aegon the sixth, he survived. I just couldn't quite compute after reading all that story because to me there was no foreshadow leading up to it all that much.
What if it's just like some type of foreshadowing for Jon Snow?
What do you mean?
Faegon. Rhaegar having a kid that survived secretly after the war. And Faegon, and like they're telling this story and they're showing us Aegon and introducing Aegon, but Jon, it's like a smokescreen for Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Like if you haven't got R+L=J by now in the books, and that hasn't been revealed. So they do like this secondary thing.
Like a red herring.
Okay, I see.
Like Faegon's the red herring for the actual Rhaegar son reveal, which is
because
Jon.
he wrote this long before people really started to catch on to the fact, like RL+J. Well, most of us anyway. I do think there's a possibility he could actually be Rhaegar's son. I'm just bothered by the fact that there's just no foreshadowing leading up to it. It's just bang, there's this kid that thinks he's Rhaegar's son on
And
paper. Maybe not.
there's so much Blackfire foreshadowing.
Yeah, which could be
Like
a red
this.
herring in itself.
Yeah. Like Illyrio says, doesn't matter, black or red, a dragon's still a dragon. And then Makoro tells Tyrion, like, you're snarling in the midst of dragons. Old and red, old and bright, dark and young, or some shit. Old and some line, and dark makes you think Blackfire, bright makes you think the red Targaryens, old Blackfire line, or I don't know who the old one would be. Illyrio. I mean, Varys.
So why do you think...
Wait, you said old? Maybe, well, not like an old dragon?
Aemon. Yep.
So here's my big issue with, and I'm on the fence about whether or not I think he's a Blackfire. Like, I think 70% of me believes that he is a descendant of the Blackfire, but the big wrench in that is I believe that Aegon truly believes he is the son of Rhaegar. However, if he's Illyrio's son, that is so elaborate of a lie to not reveal to someone that you're their father their whole life so that you can, like, it's just weird to me. It's weird to me that Illyrio would never reveal himself to be the father at any point.
The hands. He has like the mom's hands in a box. Dude's a weirdo. So like I could see it.
He is a weirdo.
Now,
Like,
do we think that that's Sarah?
Yeah, I think
The
she's
hands?
I think she's a descendant from the female line, because they say like Meleys the monstrous was the last of the male line.
Right.
They specifically emphasize male.
The male
And
line, right?
I believe, yeah, she's a descendant from the female line, or possibly I think doesn't Jaehaerys have a daughter that
Sarah.
goes off named Sarah? Yeah, and she becomes like a little.
She becomes like
And
this
this one's even named
top-notch sex
Sarah.
worker.
Yeah, so maybe I don't know, their bloodlines mingle at some point
So-
over there.
If Faegon is a Blackfire, do we think that he's hers?
Sarah's?
Yes.
Yes.
He might not be Illyrio's. He might just be hers with somebody else. Like maybe she had the baby when she met Illyrio, because wasn't she already like
Because Illyrio seems to have this like strange kind of like attachment to this child. Like he's constantly undercut Dany. Like he sent her off into the grass to die, basically. But he's done everything he could to protect Faegon.
Because he can control him. Or he thinks that he can.
Do you think that's all it is?
Nobody can really control this kid. Well, except Tyrion can definitely manipulate him.
No, I'm just saying, like, he thinks, like, it's beneficial. I feel like Illyrio doesn't do anything that isn't beneficial for him. I feel the same about Varys as well. And I feel like it's more of a power thing. Like, how can I get power? Varys talks about, for the good of the realm, for the good of the realm. Maybe, but most of that to me is bullshit. Like, bro, you cut out kids' tongues, and like you killed Kevin Lannister right when he was putting the kingdom back together just because you didn't want Tommen to be king.
Yeah,
like it was also
he pulled all of Cersei's claws off.
Yeah, and then he like planted fake evidence to make her think it's the Tyrells, to pit them against each other, even though they didn't do anything. Like Varys doesn't give a shit about nobody but Varys.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
he
really doesn't.
He wants to create as much instability and chaos in the Seven Realms as possible, so that, and he knows how to undo it too. That's the thing. It has to be his mess because he knows how to clean it up. That way, when Aegon.
Yeah. So how's he different than Littlefinger?
And also he killed Pycelle. Let's throw that out there. Grand Maester Pycelle. So
we don't care.
We don't care
that he killed her. We don't care that he killed her.
No, but the thing is with Pycelle is that means a citadel that's gonna throw some shit off over there, because figure that Grand Maester position is very highly coveted position, so there's probably gonna be some infighting there that Sam's gonna witness.
What if Marwyn gets it? I'm just kidding.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, who's gonna be the next Grand Maester?
Yeah, that's gonna be like a whole thing. It's gonna be like a whole I think like election of the Pope style thing going down in Sam's chapters.
Waiting for the smoke.
Yeah.
It's gonna be
Who's the Grand Maester?
it's gonna be Jockin.
I thought,
That's what he's doing there.
I thought you said, and he killed Pycelle, and I'm like, oh fuck Pycelle.
No one gives a shit. Okay, but
No, I meant
The
like
only good thing he did.
Oh yeah, no, fuck Pycelle, but I'm talking about like the drama that comes with that. Like there's a lot of chaos that's happening because figure that's somebody that's older and experienced. That's another empty seat off the council. So it's the Grand Maester in the hand, the two most like kind of like educated, if you will, people in experience within that small council for Tommen.
Chaos is a ladder.
Oh, I was gonna say, you had mentioned MJ. How does that make Varys any different than Littlefinger? I think that yes, Varys and Littlefinger are at odd ends in the books, but I think the show only kind of emphasized their different approach on like, oh, you're chaos and I want order, and then there was that whole Littlefinger spiel about chaos is a ladder, which the more I think about it, the more I'm like, that doesn't make fucking sense. But I do believe. So I think what Varys is doing is he is creating these fires that only he knows how to put out. And he can manipulate or advise Aegon to put these fires out in an XYZ fashion. I don't think he gives a shit about the Tyrells. In fact, I think that he needs the Tyrells out of the way so that he can manipulate. I think what he's doing is, I think he has the Tarleys in his back pocket. I think the Tarleys are the friends in the Reach that the Golden Company is talking about. And I think that the Tarleys were promised paramount lordship of the Reach
By Varys?
Or whomever.
Randall Tarley says he's fake, doesn't he?
So okay.
A little too fervently over and over, so unsolicited, like almost in this like, ma'am, this is a Wendy's sort of way. Over
but
and over.
Isn't Mace on his way to the Stormlands?
He turned it around because Marjorie got arrested because of Cersei.
No, I
don't think that's been said yet.
He halted.
But, I was to say, Mandy was going to say something.
So, as the Golden Company is coming into Westeros, they're settling in the Stormlands, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Randall Tarley has quietly been helping them. And we see that because they are moving into the widows from everyone that's died over the last, bit of battles. And Randall Tarley is helping them do that.
You think?
Yeah. He's really opposed to King's Landing even finding out about the invasion and Jon Con and company. And he's diverting reports and trying to cast doubt. And he responds to Mace Tyrell that if it is Jon Connington, even though he knows very well that it is.
Mm-hmm.
So he's in cahoots with all of this. And I think firmly that he is that friend in the Reach.
That makes sense because he's a Targaryen loyalist. They all fall on the same side.
Yep. I think the lady doth protesting too much. That doesn't make that wasn't as clever of a sentence as I wanted it to be. I think that he was laying it on too thick because he's a military guy. He's not an actor. Just super obvious. Like, it's not. Oh, if it is Aegon, silence. It's not Aegon.
He's such a hypocrite. If he supports Aegon.
What brought me to this conclusion was in a Brienne chapter, and it was the way that he was treating Brienne. And he keeps trying to send Brienne home to her father to get married. Right? Like over and over. Go home, get married, settle down. You don't belong here. He says that over and over.
If you get raped, it ain't my fault.
Exactly. He's trying to get someone from the Golden Company to move in and marry her so that they can have the island. And that's like one of the biggest wins.
They take it, right?
They took Tarth. They already take Tarth.
Right, but they don't have it legally. And if they married her, then they would legally have Tarth.
plus physically having it, that makes a lot of sense.
We have
I hope
had
her
a
daddy's
super chat
okay.
sitting- We have had a super chat sitting at the bottom of the screen for like 10 minutes now.
Oh my
So we
goodness,
should
sorry.
probably
We're good. We're good.
look at us switching roles here.
It's
I'm
been a while
executive
since we've
tonight.
all four been together, so
So we're sloppy as fuck.
we're good. We're good. So we have a super chat from Count Valerian of House Tatters. Thank you for the super chat. What happens in Marine after Dany leaves for Westeros? So I think Marine is going to be completely and utterly fucked up. Like King's Landing season 8.
I think it's gonna be a power vacuum. Everywhere she leaves power vacuums because she's not actually establishing proper infrastructure to like follow her. She's literally a conqueror. She just comes in, knocks some shit over, and then moves on to the next, and kind of leaves things in a hot ass mess everywhere she goes. Sorry, Dany, but that's what she does.
I
So I think
these battles
ain't gonna be nice.
These battles are gonna be so brutal. Like, you have 2 dragons that don't have riders, just burning shit. And we saw how that works out when dragons don't have riders in the dance. So there's no way that Marine isn't gonna be fucked up. The last time the Valyrians went to war with the Myronese or the Yunkai or the Harpy, they like destroyed their pyramids and salted their fields. So I think it's gonna be something similar to that, where she's gonna fuck it up.
So
bad on purpose.
I kind of don't think she's gonna go. Depends, because I do think this is the part in the episode where I go, hear me out, hear me out, hear me out. I am in Brendan B. Fish's camp when I say I do think that Barristan is going to survive the Battle of Fire. And I think he's going to defect to Aegon. And I think he's going to do that because Dany at some point is going to do some fucked up shit and it's going to rattle him. And I think that I think he'll hear word about Aegon and I think he'll want to stay with Dany because that's who he said he was going to stay with. But I think when Dany starts doing fucked up shit, hashtag bless up, love her to death still, he's going to end up defecting to Aegon. And I think that's going to be one of Dany's betrayals. And I also believe, yeah,
I could see it.
I think I don't know.
I don't like it, but like I figure Aerys probably. I mean, I feel like anybody that worked near Aerys caused like PTSD. Dude's insane. So I feel like if she does something that kind of maybe like triggers one of those memories or like a flashback of like Aerys doing something like wild like that, he might be like, and then figure he probably wants to go back home. He doesn't like Essos. That's not his home. His home's Westeros. And if he hears this guy, you know, oh, hey, Rhaegar's son and John Connington, another person that you know, are over here. I mean, he doesn't really like John Con, who does, but like, yeah, how long do you want to stay here, Dany? Because I don't got all day. I'm old, so let's go back to Westeros. Either you're going or I'm on.
Plus, there are many similarities between, like, he's already kind of like, we're seeing a little snippet of Barristan going against his better judgment, what he perceives as his honor. Now, Girls Gone Canon, which is an excellent podcast, they've done a character study of Barristan. They've gone through all his point of view chapters. I laughed my way through every single episode, but they have no love for Barristan. Like, they go in hard on him. Now, I'm not gonna go in as hard as they did, even though it's well deserved. But when it comes down to it, I do agree. Barristan is an idiot. Barristan has less honor than he thinks that he does, and I don't think he's dishonorable because he's amoral. I think he's dishonorable because he's not the brightest bulb. And when someone's not the brightest bulb, they don't use good discernment. And when someone doesn't use good discernment, they do detrimental things to the people around them without meaning to. But Barristan is already kind of straying away from what his own code is. And he even struggles with, unmaking what's his face, Hisdar as a king. He kind of grapples with that. And I think he'll kind of compromise with himself more and more. Barristan actually has a lot of similarities with Kristen Cole from the dance. So he starts out supporting the female. He starts out defending or supporting Rhaenyra. Now the circumstances are a little bit different. It's not a carbon copy, but he ends up defecting to the Greens, which would be the male claimant. At the time he defected, there was no war between them. However, he was a huge factor in starting all of that shit by he helped push Aegon toward claiming the throne instead of his sister. And I don't know. I just think Barristan's going to defect to Aegon.
I mean, I feel Aegon is going to do fucked up shit too. Like they're both going to have dragons. I feel like Aegon will have a dragon. And I feel like it's going to Aegon getting a dragon is going to, because when they talk about Aegon, with when Kevin Lannister talks about him with Randall Tarley and Mace Tyrell and all those, he's like, well, they're like, well, he's a fake. And then Kevin is like, well, there is one who nobody can question her blood. And they're talking about Dany because she has dragons. So once he claims a dragon, they might not be asking that many questions about his blood. Even though he doesn't necessarily have to be a Targaryen.
Which dragon do you think he might get?
Well,
the gold one.
Listen, I'm curious about how he's going to claim a dragon at all, because let's just say Dragon Binder is useful. The Greyjoys have Dragon Binder. I'm just imagining him just happening across a dragon and being like, "Hey, little buddy."
No, I think he's gonna treat. Treat with Dany.
Yeah, they're gonna meet. They're definitely gonna meet.
He's gonna treat with her, and he's gonna say, "I'm your brother's kid," and he's gonna go out there like fucking Aemon One Eye stole Vhagar, and he's gonna steal Viserys. Because in Ariane's preview, in Ariane's Wins a Winter chapter, if you don't want to be spoiled, I'm going to talk about a Wins a Winter chapter here. Ariane is traveling through
Stormlands.
Stormlands.
Oh, well, both.
What's that girl's name? Toyin.
Something Toyin.
Toyin. It's a little girl. Tala.
She was the one that had the dream. She's
a dream.
She loves
Pisces.
Desserts. Yeah. She I believe her last name is Tollard. It's the one with the dragon
Tallard.
eating its own. Yeah, the
house Tollard. Yeah,
its own tail, the
dragon eating
Ouroboros.
its own tail.
Yeah.
So she has a dream, and her dreams apparently are prophetic. And she says the dragons dance, and everywhere the dragons are dancing, and everywhere the dragons dance, the people die. And there's people are saying, George has said, A Song of Ice and Fire is gonna basically be like a Dance of the Dragons Part 2. So somebody's gonna have said dragons to dance with, so it's Aegon's got to be one of them. Because if it's Tyrion, Tyrion's not gonna fight Dany. If it's Jon, I don't think Jon's gonna fight Dany. So
I think, in my head, it just makes the most sense for Aegon to be the one to get Viserion, and figure, even though, again, I hate to reference the show, Viserion is the only dragon that opposed to Dany in a fight.
It wasn't after her creepy ass nipple pinching brother.
And again, bringing up the Viserys that went to Essos and comes back, it links up a little bit. But I feel like nobody would quite, and not only that, but I think people will look superficially at Aegon and believe he's more likely to be Rhaegar's son than Jon at first. Mm-hmm. When they find out, even though Jon, when you put everything together, it makes sense. But they're probably you're Ned's boy. You look like
Right.
Ned.
At face value,
You
he looks
know,
like a Stark.
Yeah, even though like obviously that means he looks like Lyanna and it looks like his mother's family.
I don't know what it is. I just don't love the idea of Aegon riding an actual dragon as much as threatening her claim to the dragon throne. And I hate calling it that because it's just kind of to a point where it's like that Oprah meme with all these theories, like that there are only 3 dragons, like 2 left that need a rider. And it's like, you get to ride a dragon and you get to ride a dragon and you get to ride a dragon.
No, it's going to be.
I think he burns
it's
King's
gonna-
Landing.
I don't think Euron gets a dragon.
Oh, I don't
think he gets
either.
one. I don't
I
think
think
he gets one.
Faegon getting the dragon makes the most sense.
And John.
And John.
I think John's going to get a dragon.
And if they have sense, they can be Daenerys's sister, husband, or whatever. Brother, husband.
Either one of them has sense. Just manage your expectations.
Oh, actually, I just thought of it. I think, it just came to me.
So gross.
Faegon being the one burning down King's Landing, because I think that Belle's shit, I don't think it's going to be Dany. I think it's going to be
That's some
Faegon.
John Connington
And John
shit.
Connington, and that's exactly what I was going to get to, because John Connington's PTSD with the Battle of the Bells, and he always talks about Tywin and like how he should be more like Tywin. And
what's so dumb about that is like
hold on, whoa, don't slander Tywin. I'm that guy. I will defend Tywin. Yeah,
Go
don't.
off,
I'm
bro.
sick.
He's a Lannister to the bone.
I am, but no, like for example, like Tywin, he will literally destroy everything. Like if you oppose him, and I see like maybe like a little touch of grayscale gets into Faegon, and he starts going a little loopy and shit, anyways. And the bells are going off, and John Con gives like kind of like an order to start burning stuff, and he just starts burning stuff, and then Faegon just follows his lead, and they just like burn the whole shit down. Maybe to stop the spread of grayscale. Maybe he just goes mad and thinks like, oh, I got to kill everybody because this is like this huge outbreak.
Could you?
Tywin is so pragmatic, though, a lot more than like I can see John Con being, and that's the thing that John Con won't understand about Tywin, because Tywin will be that motherfucker that's like, burn it all down. No, wait. I like those curtains. Take the curtains, burn everything else down. Like John Con's just gonna be like, burn it all. Like
he's gonna think being ruthless is what Tywin's like, but he's not understanding why Tywin does the way he does. So that's why I think he's gonna just burn it. Not again, in the grayscale is gonna make him keep going a little crazier and more off the rails. So like I saw someone else mention that maybe the Sept of Baelor is John Con, not Cersei.
The part to me that irritates me quite a bit about John Con, and maybe I should save this rant for our John Con episode, or he can just be in the Scraps episode. But the part that bothers me is John Con doesn't actually give a flying fuck about the Targaryen dynasty, because if he did, he'd be so fucking salty toward Tywin Lannister, he wouldn't want anything to do with the way that Tywin thinks. Instead, his beef is with Robert. And his beef started of course there's beef because Robert killed Rhaegar inevitably, but the beef started because he lost as I say this out loud, I can see why he would have PTSD. Okay, disregard it, but he's salty as fuck because he lost that Battle of the Bells. He's salty. He's so salty because he was outwitted.
The bells tolled for this one. The bells tolled for that one.
John Con gets on my goddamn fucking nerves. That's just all I can say.
I like him as a character. Don't really like him. Like, I don't know. I like the Lost Lord chapter in Dance. I kind of like how he is like no bullshit. Like he reminds me of like Jorah.
He does. He reminds me a lot like Jorah.
Just didn't get the opportunities that Jorah had.
Yeah,
to be
it's just like, and they both liked when I Aerys his kids.
Aegon.
Grossness. He raised him.
Oh, he does. He does.
Jorah wants to bang Dany, and Jorah's like Dany's like 12.
I know that it was my idea to start this episode by saying penis and dick, but you guys take things so far sometimes.
Sorry, I'm just saying, like, he could want to bang him because
so John
sees Rhaegar in him, just like Littlefinger sees,
and Rhaegar's his first love,
and Littlefinger sees
tits. You guys,
yeah. I mean, hey, it's not our fault. There's creepy old men in this story.
And somebody asked in the chat, "Will he want to fuck Aegon?" Somebody asked. They just asked it in the
Okay,
chat.
okay, but I
Oh, we have a
mean,
super chat.
who's hosting this episode here? Us.
Okay, so we
Another
have a
super
super chat from Fire Ice. Thank you for the super chat. What do you think of the theory that Aegon is the child of Lyanna and Rhaegar and not Jon? So I'm not gonna lie, I heard the theory before, and I feel like it's interesting, but if like you have to do so many backflips like to make it work. So I'm gonna pass on it.
It's a no for me.
It's a no from me, dog.
Me too.
Too much mental
American
gymnastics.
Idol.
American Idol.
I've never
Okay,
really
Nick,
been a fan.
Simon Cowell.
I've never been a fan of the theory that any of the baby, like, I've heard that there were multiple babies born in the Tower of Joy, and that one went here, one went there. Like you said, mental gymnastics.
Okay, the only
Not a fan.
theory the only theory that would make a lot more sense. I don't believe it, but the only one that I'm not like about is Ned plus Ashara equals Jon. That's not what I subscribe to. I'm RL plus J all the way. But narratively, I can see, especially like because a lot of people think that Jon's going to end up wielding Dawn. Maybe anyway.
Jon's gonna stick with Longclaw. There's no need to give him a new sword. He got one already.
I don't think he's gonna get Dawn.
He can have Dawn too. Otherwise, what's the use of building up Dawn if no one's gonna have?
It's a smoke
He
screen.
doesn't.
It's a smoke screen. You don't need
I think
it.
somebody can take Dawn, but it doesn't have to be Jon. There's like George has like a bajillion characters.
Right.
Like, why does Jon have to have the two cool swords when there's so many other people to hold it? Like,
Dawn is
Jon's a little guy. He can't hold that big old two great big bastard swords like with himself.
He's actually described as tall and slender, like not Blythe. That's
lean.
Aegon, lean. Yes, Kit Harington is a wee little man, but that doesn't because in the books.
I thought Jon
Rob is actually the shorter one. And he's more stout, and he's never described as little, whereas Jon was the taller one, and he's more lean, as you put it. I don't think he's ever described as a little boy.
It's a bastard sword. Longclaw's a bastard sword. It's a 1.5 hand sword. So that he's not big enough to hold that by itself. And Dawn
he's
is what I'm
14.
saying.
I didn't say he's going.
No, even like size wise. If we're talking about like the Mountain or like the Hound, yeah, those big fellas can hold swords like that. But Jon will never be the size to hold Dawn and Longclaw, so it doesn't make sense for him to carry both. He
doesn't
swords.
have to carry both at the same time.
Then there's no point of him having Dawn if he has Longclaw.
No, I think either Darkstar. I think Darkstar is going to have something come of his storyline eventually, and he'll be the one to have Dawn.
I think it's Jamie that says when he's talking about the Smiling Knight and about Sir Arthur Dayne killing him, and the Smiling Knight was like, I want Dawn, and Sir Arthur is like, oh, you shall have it, and Jamie's like, the fool. The Arthur Dayne was the true steel, not the sword. So I personally I feel like this whole story of Dawn is like just a smokescreen.
Do you remember in the show? I think it's season 2, when Jamie is still in captivity and he's talking to that made up cousin character, and he was like talking up Sir Barristan, and he said Sir Barristan is a painter that only uses the color red. I feel like that is something that he would say in the books about Arthur Dayne. I know we're getting a little off kilter here, but Arthur Dayne was in like one scene in the entire series, which was a badass scene. But I mean, anyway, I guess Dawn's not going to Jon because you guys said no, and I'm not gonna pout.
Go ahead, unless somebody has something to say. That just reminded me. I wanted to bring up that thread that I mentioned earlier. He's actually here in the chat. I saw earlier it's at the Gray Waist. So Gray Waist Tim, hey, I'm not going to read the whole thread, but he has a really good thread on Twitter where he goes into like the parallels with Faegon and some of the past Targaryen kings. But one of the things that he brought up was the common theory of Darkstar joining Faegon. So I think maybe he steals Dawn to be like Faegon's Sword of the Morning and replaces like Arthur Dane in Faegon's like cosplay as Rhaegar. And Arianne would serve as his Elia. And I figured John Con's just John Con. So yeah.
That fits your theory, Alicia.
And then he like builds up his own little like figure. You got like duck could be like, I don't know. The Went, I don't know. Bat, duck. We'll make it work, guys.
I just really feel like
I'm just connecting extra dots, but yeah.
John's just.
Oh my God.
Can we move past that?
I just want you guys to trust me for once.
No, I was saying that her theory fits your theory because you said that he was going to have Sansa. So that would be a Lyanna.
The Lyanna, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. The only
big
spice anyone will ever need, the only dragon, spicy dragons. I call it the spicy dragon theory.
No one.
And will Brandon
Brandon
Stark come demanding his sister?
No, he's gonna watch the wedding night because he's a creep.
Oh, John.
Or Arya.
Or Arya.
Like, Arya is kind of got Brandon vibes going on right now.
Oh, she does.
She's got Wild Wolf vibes.
Yeah. She's definitely the wild one of the bunch.
I do wonder if Aegon and Jon are ever going to interact with one another. I feel there are parts of me that are like, okay, is there time in the narrative? And the other part is I feel like they need to because there's a good chance they are brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what Aegon? Most Aegons have a little brother named Aemon.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about another Aegon, and let's go back to when Tyrion. Yes, I have my notes. When Tyrion first sees Faegon, right, and they're heading towards the Shy Maid, and he doesn't really know what he's getting into, but he sees this kid with bright blue hair waving a big floppy hat.
Egg.
And we know of another egg that wears a big floppy hat and hides via disguising his hair and travels with someone named Dunk, which sounds a lot like Duck, who wants to become part of his Kingsguard. And Sir Duncan becomes the Lord Commander of his Kingsguard. We have lots of Targs hiding parallels here with
So, is that supposed to evoke the thought of, hey, this could be Aegon, or is that supposed to evoke the thought that is the common thread in all of the Duncan Egg novellas? Blackfires.
I could see that.
He's definitely trying to evoke something.
Because see, that was where I was first going, and I was like, am I actually convincing myself that this kid is really, that young Grift, little John Con, is actually like Rhaegar's kid? And then I thought, no, the whole fucking thing is about Blackfires.
But I think we're supposed to not know. It's supposed to be very convincing both ways. I just heard Ragnar.
You heard Rags. Yeah. Him's playing.
Sorry.
I was going to say with them.
I think that there is going to be a lot of tragedy in not knowing. I think it's something that's going to haunt Dany for as long as she lives, whether she lives through the series or not. Now that I've kind of said it a couple minutes ago, I kind of want Jon and Aegon to meet. And I don't know if Jon will ever really find out about his parentage. I don't know if he'll ever really believe it, but I do want it to be something after Aegon goes bye-bye and does a big dead off page or on page. I want it to be something that kind of stays with Jon a little. I think there's a lot of tragedy to be set up in the idea that it very well could have been Aegon the Sixth.
Yeah, and like we'll never know. I was gonna say, with the egg thing, I just thought of the people loved egg. Like the lords didn't like egg, but the common folk loved egg, and they don't like Cersei. So I think that's kind of part of like this whole image that they were crafting for young Griff, Aegon, Faegon, whatever. I think that's like this whole thing that they were kind of like grooming together. Like, all right, we're gonna come in. Cersei, obviously, nobody likes her. We bring in this guy that's similar to a king that's not far back in history. Like people know who Egg is. Like it's not that far removed. They knew he was a good king for the common folk. So they come in, they're ravaged by war. Here comes this little beautiful Targaryen kid, loves the common people, knows their like causes and concerns, and he's their champion and their savior. And it goes to Dany's visions in the House of the Undying.
I was gonna bring up the visions, but also Quaithe as well, because the people are gonna love him. The people are gonna love Aegon because they see the cloth dragon swaying on poles amidst a cheering crowd. That's so Aegon. And then, but Quaithe tells her, and like, I don't really trust Quaithe, but Quaithe says, don't trust the sun's son and the mummer's dragon. She also she basically says don't trust anybody. Like I think she names Makuro, Tyrion, John Cunnington, Faegon. I don't know if she's talking about Quentin Martell.
She's like a narcissist. Don't trust anyone but me. Bye.
But I'm not going to tell you why. You should trust me.
I think the son's son might just be Oberyn.
Quentin.
Oh my God, Doran Martell in general, because he's like the mastermind and like the puppet master of Doran, if we're really going to be honest. And Quentin, like poor Quentin, he get burnt up. But like,
well, maybe
what's
she
Quentin
told
gonna do?
Well, no, maybe she told, like, telling someone not to trust. It doesn't always have to be about morality and intentions as much as it is like Quentin's kind of, I mean, he's an idiot. I don't trust idiots, not because they're bad people, but because like we talked about, when idiots don't have discernment, they become a detriment to the people around them. So some of this don't trust them. It could be like, don't go for it. I'm just spitballing.
Yeah. We have a super chat from Mr. Marmello. No question. On respect to the Nim Wonder Hair and Better Smile. Thank you for the super chat. We also have another super chat from Josh Gripe, Triple OG Josh in the Discord. And if you want to join the Discord book club, Discord server, Discord book club, Discord tournament, Discord everything, the link will be posted. Come join us. So the Josh asks, my one question with Aegon being real, why would Ilya die defending some random pisswater kid rather than her daughter?
I
was just gonna say, okay.
We're
like playing chicken. Like
that is all word of mouth. How she reacted. B, because she's not a fucking monster and it's still a helpless babe, and she seems like a good person that just cared about. I mean, she grew up in the Water Gardens. She seems to
you got the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say nobody was in the room, and we're gonna trust like Sir Gregor. I don't even think he's literate. Like I'm not trusting his account for shit.
And Sir Amory Lord.
Real reliable narrators. The dude who had to like stab up a poor little 3-year-old multiple times. Like I'm gonna trust his word for
and
shit.
Probably bragged about it.
Yeah.
I think the bigger question there is whether or not the Pisswater Prince was found before or after.
That is true.
If it was found before, Varys had something to do with all of it. He didn't just go and find some fucking baby. He knew some shit was coming. And he had a hand in all of it.
But
he told them not to open the doors.
Not to open the doors. And
So he
Pycelle was like,
knew.
Tywin's your friend.
Well, here's what.
Yeah.
Okay, but listen.
Right,
So
but that
though.
there
means he
he
knew the
knew.
babies
Listen.
were going to get killed. Not
But
just to
listen.
let
Why
Tywin in.
he
He knew the
offered to get
children
one
were going to
out.
get killed.
It's
That's why he offered
likely
to
that
get
they
one
would get
out.
killed if they
This
took
thing
the
gets
city.
sacked.
It's likely that they would get killed or imprisoned.
Listen, I
Because
do not trust
Aegon
that
definitely
motherfucker.
killed with
When it comes
Tywin.
to
With
when it,
Tywin, root and stem with Tywin, all of them gotta go because it's opposing to
root and
your
stem.
dynasty. You can't even allow them to grow up because
I'm
it's
just
you're
saying,
raising your enemy. So like for
Well, we know
Tywin,
Varys doesn't
I
have any
don't
issues
trust.
fucking up kids.
oh
I
no, but
don't
I'm saying with
trust.
like Tywin, he's not gonna like he knows how Tywin operates. So for him, it's like I know if Tywin gets into the city, which he knew was going to happen, that's why I think it's very likely that he went to Elia and told her, like, you know how Tywin is. We know how Tywin is. I can get one of them out. I can't get both. That's why I do lead credence to Aegon possibly being Rhaegar's actual son based on that logic. Like, if she can save one, she's not going to put both her eggs in the same basket. If she can get one out and possibly get two later, that one that's really worthy, which is the son, that's the one they're definitely going to go after. If I can at least get him to safety, I can see
I was
it.
gonna say I agree with that because that and the White Queen, I think it's the White Queen, which comes on Stars. It's about the War of the Roses and everything leading up to the War of the Roses. And what's it, Elizabeth? No.
Woodville. Yeah, Elizabeth Woodville.
Elizabeth Woodville.
That's exactly where I got the two. You're not going to keep the two
She
eggs
was
in
like,
the
if
same
I had
basket.
two very precious stones, I wouldn't put them in the same basket. And that's how the whole Perkin Warbeck thing comes.
Okay,
Alicia?
two things. Lending credence to like Aegon really could be, and this is like maybe mental gymnastics going on here, but I don't fucking trust Varys when he says no, don't, because if you remember in Storm of Swords when he was getting Tyrion out of King's Landing and they were in, Maegor's Holdfast and those little tunnels or whatever, Tyrion had asked him which one leads up to my father's chamber, and Varys was like, no, don't. Second door to the right. Please
Right?
don't. I beg of you. Exactly 112 steps and then take this. Tyrion, don't do it. And then you take 5 steps forward, 3 to the left. No, please, my lord, I beg. I don't trust when he says no. Okay.
Yeah.
Second off, if Aegon is truly a Targaryen, it's a bit elaborate, but he could have already seen, okay, Ares, his reign is fucking done. I've got one of two options here, okay? I can take this child away and I can actually mold this child to my advantage, kind of like he did with that little Lannister boy that disappeared during the riots, the bread riots in King's Landing in Clash of Kings. I can spirit this child away, knowing full well Tywin is going to completely massacre he could have he could have watched and waited and bidden his time until Aegon got a little bit older, and then he could kind of, y'all are following this. I've had a long week. I've had a long week with lots of chillins. I'm burned out. I'm sorry if this isn't making sense, but he could have known what he was doing, realized that the Targaryen dynasty as it was done, spirited Aegon away, but kind of done that thing where he was like, no, my king, don't open the gates, like he did with Tyrion when he's like, I beg of you, don't go kill your father. Here's exactly how to get to his chambers in this labyrinth.
Actually, the only reason why, hold on, I'm so sorry, I didn't want to jump in. The only reason why I see him actually genuinely not wanting to open the gate is if Robert had a lick of sense, Varys should be dead.
But he didn't die.
He should be dead. But I, as a betting man, would have thought they're going to kill me if this guy has any common sense. That would be my thought. Like, as a political minded person, I'd be like, yeah, no, if Robert wins this city, I'm out of here. There's no way he's going to be dumb enough to keep me. But he happened to be dumb enough not to listen to his brother. So, like, you got lucky, but I don't think he was expecting to.
So let's say that Faegon isn't real, right? And he was born around the same time as Aegon. Do you think from his birth, Varys has been planning to raise him up and bring him back to Westeros to take over? Because Ragnar.
Poor Rags.
Oh, poor Raggy.
Because I kind of feel like if Varys really wanted to help the kingdom, then Rhaegar is doing this whole thing at the tourney of Harrenhal. He's trying to like get the Great Lords together to overthrow his dad. Why would you inform the Mad King that this is happening so then he comes and ruins it?
Prophecy. He don't like sorcerers. And he knew Rhaegar was dabbling and dibbling and all that weird shit. So he was probably like, you're going to probably end up like your dad in the future anyways. But if I could take this uncorrupted source and groom it exactly how I want it to be.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I could think of as to why not Rhaegar. And I'm like, oh, wait, Varys really doesn't like sorcerers. And Rhaegar was all into prophecy and like, I'm not sure how common a knowledge it was, but it seems like certain people kind of knew that about Rhaegar, like what he was into.
Well, Rhaegar kind of
the Master Whispers would.
Rhaegar kind of seems like an idiot, so I feel like everybody would have known.
I read this like really cool book. Like,
you guys, I have this.
And now I gotta be a knight.
So I've been dabbling in pendulum swinging, you guys.
I just checked out my birth chart and I found out my moon sign. And now I have to become a lion.
I bet you anything. If astrology worked in this, Rhaegar's a Cancer. I'm calling it right now.
Absolutely.
Should we get to the super chat?
Yes. Yeah. So we have a super chat from Reginald Taylor. Thank you for the super chat. You ladies are amazing as always. Thanks a bunch. No question or statement. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. So
there's another one. There was one more.
Oh. Thank you for the super chat, Sandy. How is it possible that not a single whisper got back to Varys about R+L=J? Or maybe it did and he couldn't find the baby, so he was inspired by it. Also, thanks. I really enjoy this podcast. Oh, I like that he was inspired by it. I think that no whispers got back to him because he doesn't have any kids with their tongues cut out at the Tower of Joy. Mm-hmm.
I think it wasn't that well kept of a secret.
Really?
I'm in that theory. Like, I'm in that camp that like a fair amount of people kind of knew, because like In Deep Geek has this really great playlist on like how he thinks like the events played out in Robert's Rebellion. So watch that if you guys haven't. It's really, really good. But so pretty much like they needed to get supplies and stuff to this tower, and like figure you had like serving people, and like you had to have a maester, somebody there to help deliver the baby, and like this is like royalty. They're gonna have staff on hand. Mm-hmm. So it's like this is people that some people knew where they were, and I think Varys probably very well knew. Probably just I think he was keeping it. I think like Aerys probably knew because Aerys called Rhaegar back. So like they knew Rhaegar was gallivanting off somewhere. So they knew where he was because they had to send word for him to come back to be like, hey, buddy, no, you really need to go fight now. Like,
I don't think there's anything that happens that Varys doesn't know about.
I just think they don't know about the baby.
I think maybe not the baby, but I think he knew he was over there being a little trollop with Lyanna.
I think all of them knew he was over there thoughting, but I don't know if they know about the baby.
Yeah.
I think Varys, here's the part that like I never thought about, how there's like not a plot hole so much, but like I can't connect the dots. Like there's no way Varys thought that Jon was actually Ned Stark's. There's no way that even if Varys didn't know about the pregnancy, there's no way he would have been like, okay, so to A plus B equals C, I'm missing B and this A plus blank factor, but somehow I got a C. But I think that he
probably had a hunch. I think Varys may have had a hunch.
Has a hunch.
I think most people think that Jon's mom is Ashara.
Yeah, but Varys would know. I think Varys put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, he would
but the
definitely know if it was
ritual matching-
Ashara, because Ashara was a lady in waiting to Elia, so she would have been in the Red Keep. He would have had access to her.
She killed herself.
Wouldn't John?
No, but she worked with she was in the Red Keep before she went and killed herself. Like she was with Elia. Like after the Tower turning at Harrenhal, she went back with Elia towards King's Landing. So
I mean,
he would have seen her. And I don't think
the baby.
She
was gone. She was gone when the sack of King's Landing happened. She was back in Starfall. So she wouldn't have known. Yes.
I don't think he knows about John because John would be a threat to Aegon. And he doesn't seem the slightest bit bothered about whatever the fuck John is doing right
Well,
now.
John's given up all his claims to lands and titles.
So.
Oh, yeah.
Cersei, I mean, so.
Well, not only that, but like, it's Ned Stark's, like, kid. I think if it was somebody more ambitious, he'd probably perceive it more as a threat. But he's like, oh, this is Ned. Ned's not power hungry. Like, because he's smart, but he's not all-knowing smart. So I would say he probably like underestimates that card. Like, he's like, oh, he's up in the north with Ned. Ned doesn't seem like the type to like rally the troops against his friend to put his like nephew on the throne. Mm-hmm. And then by the time that comes around, he's like, yeah, he's a brother of the Night's Watch. He knows like even if John were to leave, he would be killed.
Yeah.
So it's not really that much of a threat. Like,
oh my God. I just had an idea. Dany is going to fucking kill Faegon like she killed Varys on the show. Or
by Dragonfire.
Or eat him. Or feed
Dance
him.
with the Dragons.
Feed him to Drogon.
So I've always thought in my head, because I'm dramatic, we're going to go back to Barristan defecting. I think that he's going to lead a portion of Aegon's army during like a Field of Fire 2.0. I think that Dany's going to be forced to kill Barristan. I think it's going to upset her, and she's going to take her anger out on Aegon. And I think she's going to be angry and sloppy and accidentally nuke King's Landing in that moment. Like, I think that's how it plays out. So I do think that if maybe Aegon is in King's Landing, maybe he's not, maybe she thinks he's in King's Landing, maybe he gets spirited away like the second Aegon. But I do think she's going to go for him, nuke King's Landing, and I think there's a possibility he'll die. Arianne certainly will, because I don't know where else she would be, but she'll have that in common with her brother. It wasn't.
I'm sorry. No, my face just did that because of the super chat. I had to look up the quote just to make sure, like, my thing, I was correct before I spoke. And
I was muted, but I laughed evilly, Alicia.
I was like, way to tell in front of thousands of people that you don't think I'm funny.
I'm sorry. I was like, my mouth was just open because I was like, I looked at the super chat and I was like,
it's already done. It's live. It's on the internet. It's not going away.
We have a super chat from Fire Ice. Thank you for the super chat. Could Aegon be the younger queen in Maggie's prophecy? Maggie said someone younger and beautiful will cast Cersei down. She didn't say queen or female.
I have the quote pulled up right here too. It says, I, queen, you shall be until there comes another, younger and more beautiful, to cast you down and take all that you hold dear. It does not specify male or female, it just says another. And Arianne mentions that when she sees that like Lysini pirate boy, she's like, ooh, he's fine. I hope this isn't what Aegon looks like, because he is beautiful. And we know Aegon is beautiful. Like, he's mad
and
pretty.
She has a weakness for beautiful
I was just going to say that. I was just because she's lusting over Arianne.
I feel like she
even all that. Like, I just could tell.
I think in general she's just horny because this is the same chick that like she wanted to bang her uncle. She wanted to bang.
Oberyn's
She wanted to bang her. Okay, but it's her uncle, and they're not raised like that.
I'm thinking Westeros. You're talking about Cersei.
No, Arianne. was like, it's in her first chapter. She basically alludes to the fact that she fantasized her uncle taking her out to the desert and like having rough sex with her.
It's Westeros.
It's Westeros.
Yeah, but they're not raised
so-
like.
I mean, to be fair,
It's
Oberyn.
Oberyn.
Yeah.
So
What do you mean, to be fair? It's her uncle.
but it's Oberyn
Oberyn.
Martell.
Y'all are so gross.
He's not my uncle, so it's not a problem.
Yeah, he's not our uncle. So we have another super chat from Lauren Griffith. Thank you for the super chat. Big love, ladies. Excellence as always. So I wanted to read you guys this quote. It's one of my favorite quotes in all of the books, and it's by Tyrion. And it's when he's talking to Aegon about Daenerys maybe not being so willing to marry him.
oh, right before Faegon knocks over the Kaiva's board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes. He says, the dwarf shrugged. I know that she spent her childhood in exile, impoverished, living on dreams and schemes, running from one city to the next, always fearful and never safe, friendless but for a brother who was by all accounts half mad. A brother who sold her maidenhood to the Dothraki for the promise of an army. I know that somewhere out upon the grass her dragons hatched, and so did she. I know she is proud. How not? What else was left to her but pride? I know she is strong. How not? The Dothraki despise weakness. If Daenerys had been weak, she would have perished with Viserys. I know she is fierce, as the poor young Kai and Marine are proof enough of that. She has crossed the grasslands and the red waste, survived assassins and conspiracies and fell sorceries, grieved for a brother and a husband and a son, trod the cities of the slavers to dust beneath her dainty sandaled feet. Now, how do you suppose this queen will react when you turn up with your begging bowl in hand and say, "Good morrow to you, auntie. I am your nephew, Aegon, returned from the dead. I've been hiding on a pole boat all my life, but now I've washed the blue dye from my hair, and I'd like a dragon, please. And oh, did I mention my claim to the Iron Throne is stronger than your own?" It's one of
You're
my
right, though.
favorite quotes, and I'm sorry, but there's no way. There's no way she's going to like step aside for Aegon, or she's gonna step aside for Jon, like after all that she's been through. That's why, like, during season 8, when they were like, "Oh, all she gives a fuck about the throne," da 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 da. Like, after everything she's been through, and these two people just like Jon was like all safe in Winterfell, just chilling for most of his life, and then this guy's been protected, and she's had really nobody. And then you want her just to say, "Fuck my claim. Let me step down and support yours." And I don't even know if any of you bitches are who you say you are. Go ahead, Alicia.
I think that in the books, she does not give as much of a shit about her claim as much as she does remnants of home and family. And to her, that throne is what's left of her family. I don't think she's going to give up what she knows is left of her family for something that's questionably her family. So for her, she's not going to be obstinate because, oh, your claim is stronger than mine and I'm jealous. I think she's going to be obstinate because it's like, you came out of the clear blue sky and I'm supposed to trust this and share this with you. I don't think she'll rule it out, but I think that things will get more and more tense. Like, things will escalate. Like, I think she'll be like, okay, let me suss this whole thing out. And I think like shit will go down while she's trying to suss it out. And then it's just going to be this back and forth sort of, someone's going to do something that, like, I think John Conn's going to do something to set her off rather than Aegon himself. And it's just going to be this back and forth war.
It's like Dany, it's kind of like some heart and conflict with itself type shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she really wants a family. She really wants to belong somewhere. And Dany would love if her brother's son was still alive. She would love to know that these two guys are really her brother's sons and they're alive. But she doesn't know that any of this shit is true. And she's like, the older she gets and the more shit that she goes through, the more soured she gets to trusting people. Like Tyrion is telling Faegon, don't trust anybody. Don't trust John Cunnington. Don't trust the cheesemonger. Don't trust anybody, that all these people that grew you from a bean. And Tyrion is like one of the smartest people in the universe. And for him to be like, yeah, they grew you from a bean. Like you're not real.
Well, and he seems to be the one giving our younger characters their like reality checks.
Yeah.
Like the conversation he had with John in one of the very first chapters. He's the one that kind of points it out and makes them notice what they should have noticed a long time ago. Like, this is right in front of you. It's pretty fucked up. You might want to pay attention.
Yeah, he actually gives like everybody their reality checks. Like, now that I think about it, like everybody gets a reality check from Tyrion at least once.
That's true. He is brutally honest with people.
But I mean, makes sense, tracks. But he actually does have a point, though. Like, I think their original plan to go to Daenerys was kind of weak in actually showing that strength of like that you can kind of do this by yourself. I think it does come to her on a more level playing field.
He does kind of look like a scrub if he just shows up.
Yeah, like, hey,
good morrow. Good morrow, Auntie.
Yeah.
No, seriously, he's got no car, no job. Just basically like, sup.
Yeah, but it's like, look what I did over here. So it's like, hey, come over now. Like, it's good. Like,
do you think that?
I mean, he gave him good advice. It's not that he wasn't giving him good advice. It was, I don't know that it's safe.
Good intentions.
I don't know
if
it was
bad
safe.
advice.
But I think it really.
I think that it was good advice, but I also think Tyrion did it because he's a motherfucker and he was bored and he wanted to stir up some shit.
No, true.
I think
I'm not debating that.
I think he put him in a dangerous spot because if she comes there and she's pissed at him in any way, she could just fucking kill him. And none of that army that he has, none of those lands that he won will matter. But I guess it's like, I feel like
that already?
He basically just like ignored everyone that that had been coaching him and teaching him his whole life for Tyrion.
Honestly,
these hoes ain't loyal.
I see Tyrion's points, Faust Faegon. I'm like that. Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah,
like the math, and it was a good timing. It's great timing. Like the realm is in shambles right now.
Yeah,
like I will say this.
And Tommen's a weak king, and Tywin's dead. With Tywin out of the way, that plays like a huge. And there's like not many. Like figure what the Erie's been kind of like doing its own thing, but at the end of the day, its leader is technically a child. Mm-hmm. The North is run by the Boltons, but by a thread. Riverlands by the Freys, but by a thread. Iron Islands is run by a psychopath, aka Euron. And then what? You got the Martells kind of just have been doing their own thing. The
doing
Reach,
nothing for the last 15 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like the Reach, the Stormlands is also in shambles. So it's like kind of everybody's like kind of all over the place. Not that like a lot of power houses really going, like no immediate threats. So
I wonder if Tyrion knew when he told him that he was gonna fucking listen to every word he said and act on it.
He had to.
Tyrion know that.
So he was definitely, I think he was trying to test Aegon, because one of the best ways to get to know somebody is to unnerve them and see how they react during it. And I think that he really wanted to get an assessment of whether or not this kid thought, he's trying to figure out if Aegon is actually Aegon, which he doubts. But I think he's also trying to figure out if Aegon believes that he's Aegon. So he was trying to unnerve him through that whole thing. Because if you think about it, there are parts of me that are like, yeah, Tyrion just wanted to stir up absolute shit. However, Tyrion didn't know that he would on his own be on his way to Daenerys without Aegon and company. As far as Tyrion was concerned at that point, where Aegon and company went, Tyrion ended up going. So if Tyrion puts Aegon in a position where Dany's going to like absolutely nuke him, Tyrion knows he's in that position as well. Nihilistic or not, I think he thinks he's... Anyway, I think that Tyrion was just trying to see how upset he could get Aegon, because when Aegon flipped the Cyvass board, Tyrion was basically like, yes, my nipples are hard now. You know, like
you might
good,
be a Targaryen after all.
Yes. So
Yeah.
I rabbit trailed so hard, I forgot what the original
I was gonna
question
say
was.
this person in the comments, Christine David, said Tyrion sent him there to fuck with Cersei. And yeah.
Just he's a little brother from hell.
But think about it. But really think about it. He's like, oh, Cersei's going through it. Let me just
She's
have
the
him
big
go over there and
sister
fuck with
from
her a
hell
little more.
now.
Because he can't mess with Cersei right now. So send somebody else to go do it.
Yeah. We have a super chat from Reflective Rambling. Thank you for the super chat. And this is for Tony Sled. How do you think Tyrion views Dany? Because he really went at Aegon and he got a chance to see Dany too. So he hasn't really gotten a chance to talk to Dany or anything like that. She just like saved him from fighting. What were they fighting? Bears or something? Lions.
Okay, so they thought that they were going to go into the arena as amusement, but what they didn't know was somebody planned on unleashing lions on them. And Dany found out about it, and she's like, absolutely not. So he just went out and they did the whole routine. Didn't they do the routine?
Yeah.
With like a new dog and a new pig or something?
Yeah, she was like, they're not fighting fucking lions.
Right, because the dog died, and I'm pretty sure they ate the pig.
Yeah.
For bacon.
So a lion was going to kill Tyrion and Dany saved him.
Yeah.
So one of his lion siblings is going to try to kill him and Dany's going to save him?
Cersei.
Possibly.
Speaking of Cersei, when Aegon inevitably takes King's Landing, do you think he'll have a meeting with Cersei at any point? How do you think he'll go? Do you think he'll take her as captive, or will she have already fled out west?
I think she's going to Castle Rock.
I think so. I had a thing about taking Cersei and her kids. So I think I wrote this down. Cersei, Tom, and Myrcella getting imprisoned. And it's going to be a big point of contention between Jon Con and Aegon on what to do with them. Because Jon Con's probably going to want them killed. Because that's him being like Tywin, if you will. And like, oh, it's justice for your mom and your sister, blah, 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 blah. And I think Aegon will probably be like, well, no, I'm not going to resort to being like how they were and this and that. I think they will kill Tommen, though. I think Tommen will die, though. I think Aegon, they'll take Tommen's head. It's going to sound fucked, but I see that happening. I see
definitely not Myrcella, though, because
not Myrcella. Yeah, they won't kill Myrcella. I don't see them killing Myrcella, even though I think Myrcella is going to die another way. But I could see Jon Con and Aegon having a fight over that, like what to do with Cersei and her kids.
I can see Cersei in desperation making a bid to marry Myrcella to Aegon.
She's too young for him.
But she's power hungry.
I mean, to betroth them,
Cersei don't care, I'm sure.
No, I mean, like, as well, in desperation to save Myrcella's life, I can see her betrothing her, because here's the deal. You don't have to, like, in Westeros, they married off a baby to a 6-year-old or so, and waited around for them both to be.
They did.
Yeah, so I mean, like, they don't have to consummate the marriage as much as like to make that marriage pact. So Myrcella's 10 or so.
Yeah.
So
within 2 years, she'll be flowered because Westeros is gross.
The only problem, so
But she's
if
a bastard.
Myrcella was Robert Baratheon's daughter, that'd be a good thing. That, like, I could see that, but because her parentage is like,
Cersei will never admit publicly that she banged her brother and had his little chillins.
I mean, but what can Cersei offer Aegon?
I said desperation, though. Like, she's not
Yeah, but
what if she tries to seduce John Con?
I could see it. But I can
I mean,
I
she
definitely
did
could see it.
Lantel and Moon Boy and the Kettlebacks.
Yeah, she
Frodo.
definitely
And then she
try
gets
it.
grayscale in her vag.
No,
Oh,
because he
God.
won't bang her. We don't know that he doesn't like
Yeah.
women, but I don't see him
But he might
really.
finger bang her
And give her grayscale.
with that grayscale hands.
I can't.
I'm sorry.
But
It's
yeah,
always
no, I definitely see.
you.
I'm sorry.
Watch, this is going to be one of the, as much as we're cringing, this is going to be one of the highlights that we pull and post on our social media. Like, come watch Direwolf City. We talk about bad pussy, finger banging with a stony disease. As I go like this.
It's been
Yeah.
a long work week for me this week, guys. So bear with me. Oh, we're like an hour and a half in. We need to wind this down.
Okay, very quickly before we do, someone asked like quite a while ago for me to explain what I was talking about with Tarth. I know it was a little convoluted. So when Brienne and Sir Hyle Hunt are in Maidenpool, they are taken captive by Randall Tarley and co. And for whatever reason, Randall Tarley sees fit to release them, even though Hyle Hunt has like all the tea on him. Like he knows his strategies, he knows where his troops are, he knows how many troops he has, but he lets them go anyways. Now, very slowly and quietly, the Golden Company has been moving into the Stormlands. They have taken Tarth, but not legally and not with any title. So Randall Tarley, this is obviously my own tinfoil here, but Randall Tarley is trying to convince Brienne to go back home to Tarth, to her father. And I think it's because he knows there's a Golden Company. Well, obviously, he knows that the Golden Company is there waiting for her, but it serves as a good blackmail to get her married to whoever is invaded the castle in Tarth. So then the Golden Company would have legal claim to the island and to the castle and everything. The point here, though, is we know that Randall Tarley is a loyalist. He has called Mace Tyrell out specifically for only fighting for the dragons because he didn't really have a choice, and he denigrates him for that. Randall Tarley is an absolute loyalist. Why they portrayed him the way they did on the show and saying no, screw you, Targ woman, I'm loyal to Cersei, it made no sense because he is a loyalist. He would have gone with any Targaryen that ever showed up because he is a loyalist. It doesn't make it. I'm trying to find the exact quote. Here it is. The fat flower fought for Ares, but not for his personal conviction. That's how he described the, help me.
Mace Tyrell.
Mace Tyrell's, thank you. Mace Tyrell's involvement in the, in Robert's rebellion. Like he didn't want to go fight for them. He fought for them because he kind of had to, or risk his family being killed. So I think it really indicates where, even though we don't really know much about Randall Tarley, we have that little snippet of him in Maidenpool, but a lot happens, and I think that it's very telling of what's going on his side of things. And I do definitely think that he is the help in the reach that we've heard about for Faegon.
And you know what would be like full circle? So the Tyrells like became the Tyrells because House Gardner, like the Tyrells were stewards, and House Gardner like fought Aegon and Visenya and Rhaenys, and then like after the Field of Fire, they like opened up High Garden, like here, have this, and Aegon made them lords of High Garden. So if Randall Tarley like steps in that position, we're like, yeah, go ahead and kill them. And then here you can have this castle and make me a lord.
Well, it would kind of be
do you see? Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, do you see the maybe not exactly how up in the show, like Septa Baylor, where mad Tyrells get taken out?
No,
like in some type of freak accident. Okay,
no.
Just asking because wanted to throw that out there since we're talking about Tyrells and going away
I
somehow.
think there's so many Tyrells, they're going to stick
So
around.
many.
But I know, other than the fact that she's Cersei, I know that the Tyrells piss off a lot of houses in the Reach, because it would be a lot like if the Poles suddenly were the lords of the North, because the Starks didn't want to bend the knee. Like because I'm pretty sure the Poles are stewards in Winterfell, correct? Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be like that same concept. So the Tyrells are already kind of pissing off different houses left and right because they took over Brightwater. It's just Brightwater, right? The Florence seat.
I think so.
They're like, anyway, they're pissing off a lot of houses in the Reach. So I can see how, I don't think that the Randalls are the only friends that Aegon and company has in the Reach. I think there are a few houses here and there that have loyalties to the Targaryens. And I think it is mainly the Tyrells that lick the boots of the Lannisters and the Baratheons.
Yeah, and like the Tyrells, even if they wanted to switch over to Aegon, like they're not if Aegon is in bed with Dorne, because they fucking hate Dorne.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they hate.
I wrote a whole essay on the Tarleys. There's a lot of people asking follow-up questions, and I'm going to go ahead and post it in the Discord. So if you're interested in that, just head on over to the Discord and you can read the whole thing with citations and quotes and stuff.
So we got a super chat from Tony Sled. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate the chat and the ladies running it. We have another super chat from Cloaked One. Thank you, Cloaked One. For Oasis rules, Tyrion, Jon, and Dany are the three-headed dragon, as in the dragon riders that will conquer. I don't think Tyrion will. I think seeing Tyrion ride a dragon would be so fucking goofy.
Yeah, it's like the acrobatic bullshit.
It would take me straight out of the universe.
Yeah, I replace Tyrion with Faegon, and you have me.
Honestly, I don't know. Let's just to humor you guys, let's just say we get a chapter where Tyrion rides a dragon from his point of view. I don't see it as like this majestic moment, because I just really feel like he's going to complain about how his legs are cramping up as he's on the saddle. But I don't think that Tyrion is a Targaryen. I think it's just kind of one of those fun little snippets that George threw out there to get people to kind of debate, because I think there's a lot of very meta themes flying around, whether Tyrion is Aerys' child or he's Tywin's. It's just dripping in irony either way. I don't think we'll know for sure, but I think Tyrion Targaryen is one of my least favorite theories. Little bit.
No, I actually would like it better if the twins were Aerys's, because he is so proud of them and loves them so much. And then I would love for Tyrion to be the only one that was actually his, and he's been treating him like shit this whole time.
Same.
I want Tyrion to be Tywin's kid.
Yeah, it'll make my girl, his sister, correct. And why am I blanking on her name?
Cersei.
Oh my god. No, Tywin's sister, the sassy Gemma.
Jenna.
I was like, the sassy one, Jenna. But yeah, I want her to be right when she told Tywin, like, that's like your only actual real child. Like, that one's just like you. If you haven't noticed.
I love how she's the only sibling that stands up to him.
Yeah, because she's like it's like little baby girl, and she's like,
I like her boobs.
Yeah, me too.
All the art of her has huge fucking tits.
Yeah.
We have a super chat from Axel SH. Thank you for the super chat. Big fan from Canada. So who do y'all think ends up on the Iron Throne? I think it's Bran, only because they said George said it was.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to be Dany this whole time.
First of all, love your name. It's my son's name, but his just doesn't have an E in it. But yeah, it's obviously going to be Bran. But before it's Bran, I do think Aegon, we will have an Aegon the 6th. Maybe not for long, but I do believe
kind of like how
like a half-year queen type situation, like with Rhaenyra. There's a lot of parallels with the Dance of the Dragons, but yeah, I definitely see Faegon being crowned, sitting the Iron Throne for some period of time. It doesn't have to be a long period, but I do believe he will be king at some point.
He'll be king during Winds of Winter.
Yeah.
We got another super chat from Vincent Harper. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the content, ladies.
Thank you, Vincent.
I read Vincent's tarot on Tony's stream.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot of fun. We have another super chat from Lita Marie. Thank you, Lita Marie. Thanks for the juice, ladies. Oh, you're pretty.
Right.
Love
Hi,
the
Lita.
lipstick.
Love the hair.
Thank you. Hi, Lita.
Love you. Okay, so we're winding down. Oh, we have another super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Cyclops is better than Wolverine. No one is better than Wolverine. Wolverine's my favorite.
I was gonna say debatable.
Yeah.
That's another show.
But thank you for the super chat. If Bran gets to become king, I'll be so butthurt. Like, if it makes sense, I'm all for it. But make it make sense. Don't just make it be like, oh, I can never be Lord of anything. And then the next episode, why do you think I came all this way?
Who has a better story than the guy who we left out for a whole season?
I need more personality from Bran to be okay with it, because they just, I don't know. You know what I think happened? I think that Isaac Hempstead, right, however you say his name, I think that he was adorable and he might have been a passable actor as a child. And then they realized he probably couldn't act as he became an adult. And they're like, go for this computerized monotone.
No, he said they were constantly making him tone down his acting.
Because it was bad.
It was probably bad directing, not bad acting.
But it was probably
bad writing.
It's probably both.
The reason why I want to defend him there is if you watch, and I love Star Wars. I love them with all my heart. I will not completely shit on the prequels, but I'll drag a little bit here. The prequels make Ewan McGregor and Natalie Portman look like bad actors, and they are not bad actors. It's just bad writing and bad directing.
That makes me wonder what Hayden Christensen can do under good writing and good directing.
Have you seen that movie where he gets the sweaty palm surgery and he's awake through the whole thing? And it's a really good movie. You should watch it.
Is it low budget?
I don't remember, but I remember it was really good, and he was really good in it.
Surgery gives it away.
I know, that's what I was thinking.
It's the sweaty palms for me.
I watched this low budget movie last night, and it was like this guy was getting choked, and like at the wrong time, he was sticking his tongue out. He was like, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst fucking acting I've ever seen in my life.
Wait. Was it enjoyable getting choked or
something?
No, it's Transpotting. It looks like somebody dropped it in the chat. Transpotting.
No, it wasn't
that movie.
You said getting choked, and I was like, yes.
I thought about after I seen that, I said I need to make a fucking video for YouTube where I just point out all the things that took me out of movies, all the low budget moments that just completely took
I
me
will
the fuck out.
join you for that one because I'm fucking petty when I watch shows.
Oh, mine is like, that's why I can't watch like the Fast and Furious movies, because I'm like, whose insurance is paying for this damage?
Dude, my friends get so mad at me. Okay, like I have a lot of friends that love watching like The Bachelor, Bachelorette. I'm not allowed to watch it with them because they take it seriously. Clearly, I do not. But I have so many, like, even if it's like a scripted production, I have so many logistical questions. Like it just, I drive people insane with that shit. But going back to Bran, if he has more of a personality in the books by the time they leave the cave, I'll probably be okay with it. In fact, anything George puts his hands on, I'll probably be okay with it until he kills some of my favorite characters, but I digress. Yeah, I just don't want that creepy he was creepy. He told Sansa he saw her on her wedding night, and instead of being like, hey, sorry that happened to you, he was like, you look so beautiful. You know, he like knew Theon was gonna die and didn't say, Theon, hold on for maybe like 15 more seconds, bro. He was just like,
You're a good man.
Now, scuttle off there.
The funniest meme that came out of season 8 was like they brought Bran, like everyone built Bran up this to be this like super human strength dude, and then like all he did during the whole long night battle was watch Infinity War. Watch Infinity War. And the guys
he was so emotionless too. Like all these people are dying around him in the woods, and he's just in his creepy ass chair, like he's just the worst.
Like I'm chilling in the birds and stuff. It's pretty cool.
He's literally the reason that the fucking White Walkers are there. They're trying to kill him, and he's just this little stoner kid in the chair, just like probably fucking enjoying it.
Could you hear my? I don't know if you guys have seen that TikTok where that girl calls 911 and she's like babysitting this little boy, and she's like, they're like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, we were playing hide and seek, and I've been seeking for 3 hours. I can't seek anymore.
The magic camp kid.
The magic camp boy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay, we're getting off. We're getting off here.
We were addressing the super chat.
I know. All right. So next week, who do you guys want us to cover? So we'll go around us 4. And you guys can vote. So my pick is Samwell. And if you want my pick of Samwell Tarly, put a book.
Wait, are we jumping around the regions?
Oh, this is the South.
Oh, I forgot you weren't here.
We're just, it was.
We just grouped the South all together.
I was at a bar. Okay, brewery, actually. But
I have mine. I'm trying to think of it. Oh, Marjorie Tyrell. And you could do a flower. So that'd be Marjorie Tyrell, Lancel, not Lancel, oh my God, Loris. Just Tyrell's. Throw a little flower in there.
So Samwell book, Marjorie Tyrell flower. Mandy. You're muted.
I'm thinking. I don't know. Alicia, you go first.
I was going to wait for you to go first, so I think we need time to think about this. Part of me wants to say Ariane, just because today Twitter has spoken again that apparently I look like that one painting of
you
her.
Do.
Should.
I said Ariane last time, so say Ariane again.
Oh,
so
by the way,
my second vote.
By the way, I was thinking about it today. It is canon that Ariane has a belly. Just saying, love that for her. But I say Ariane.
Let's both say Ariane.
Okay, so Ariane, a snake.
No, a sun.
A sun. Ariane, a sun. Sam, a book. Tyrell or Marjorie Tyrell, a flower. So you guys vote, and whoever you pick, that's who will be covering next.
I'm seeing a lot of flowers, but that's
I've seen a lot of flowers too. I've seen a lot of flowers too.
That was before I said Ariane. Oh,
that was
snake.
Sun snake. I was just thinking about Oberyn. What?
Someone just called me wifey.
That's good.
Can we just have like a Oberyn appreciation stream?
And then I just talk about how much I love Pedro Pascal.
In my head, him and Oscar Isaac are married, and I will hear no debates. If you guys haven't seen pictures of them, it's the cutest bromance in the world. I love them.
It is. It's adorable. It's on Instagram all the time.
Before we get off of here, I need to know, because I have a video that's coming out about Faegon. I need to know if you guys think Jon Snow is still a bastard.
No.
You think Rhaegar and Lyanna got married?
Absolutely. First of all, Rhaegar has already proven he does whatever the fuck he wants to do when he wants to do it. Second off, nobody came along and told the Targaryens they couldn't do that exceptionalism bullshit anymore. Having 2 wives doesn't go without precedent.
I don't think they got married. I think he's still a bastard.
when you put it that way, that makes sense. I definitely do not think that marriage was annulled. It makes zero sense to disown your other children in the line of succession,
Yeah.
especially when you have a son named Aegon. Like, I personally think he was banking on John being a girl. I think he really thought, because he had a Rhaenys and he had his little warrior fucking jousting North girl who I think he thought she would give him like a warrior princess, which would be his Visenya. So I don't think he expected to have another son. I think he expected to have another daughter.
Yeah, and like Alicia said, I don't think that he would have gone through the trouble of having the first marriage annulled. I think he would have just slapped this marriage on top of it.
I can go with that as long as he didn't disown Ilya, because I don't feel like he would have did that.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think he took 2 wives. And I think Lyanna
2 wives
was
I can get with, but don't be disowning Ilya. Poor Ilya. Like, we need to do an Ilya Martell appreciation stream.
Yeah,
we
she
should.
got
just a Dornish appreciation stream.
I definitely am down with
I'm
Dorne.
so glad you said
love
that
Dorne.
because I'm seeing more suns and snakes in the chat.
Yes.
Speaking of Dorne.
Did y'all forget that Samwell Tarly is a book emoji? Books.
They wanted to
see
put
books.
a fat pink mask,
mask.
and there was no emoji for that.
Eggplant emoji for Samuel Tarly.
I want to cover Sam so bad, and we're probably not going to get to him until last because no one else cares but me about Samuel Tarly. But we would know.
He had a one book and amongst some flowers.
Oh, Sonic, ya boy, voted for Sam. Oh, we have a super chat. Mr. Marmello, I think he's like obsessed with you, Nim. Nim, great facts. Can we get I'm sorry, but emote?
I'm not in control of that, but I will talk to whomever is in power here. And thank you again.
Oh, the books are starting to show up.
Yes.
They've been showing up. It's just that for whatever reason, they're up for like review as a moderator, even though they're books. Like Twitter is not Twitter. YouTube is flagging it as.
If there's past a certain number of emojis in one thing, it holds it for review.
Yeah, it does. Like Marjorie's like winning over here.
We're probably gonna do Danny last.
Yeah,
well, we're gonna complete Westeros before we move to Essos, right?
Yeah,
I'm so excited.
Essos is gonna be fun.
I'm excited to do Victorian. To be honest, I laughed my way through every stream, but I feel like
leave him alone.
Victorians is gonna be a good one.
And if you guys didn't know, we will be streaming. We will be streaming directly together. We will be streaming together directly after each episode of House of the Dragon when it comes out. So
eventually we're gonna move to Sundays.
Yeah.
But we'll do that. We'll keep you guys posted on that, and that'll be done like in advance before the show, so everybody gets used to the new Sunday night routine. But don't forget to vote for our next coverage. Books for Sam, flowers for Marjorie, suns for Ariane.
And snakes, I guess.
Or snakes.
And our podcast is coming out.
Yes.
Very soon.
Okay.
It's not ASMR.
It's not ASMR.
We have been, while we've been away from Direwolf City, we've been busy with our other podcast. We've already recorded how many? 3?
3.
Just working on a few other production tidbits, and we'll be out.
We're really excited.
Sooner than you know.
Oh, some other housekeeping stuff. Next week for the U.S. holiday, because I know not everybody watching is from America, is 4th of July, which is America's Independence Day. So we're not going to be here next Friday. So go grill.
Oh, we're not?
Have some beers.
No, and Ara is going to be out doing her little thing too.
Getting bachelorette party.
That's right.
Yes, I'll be on my bachelorette trip. If you guys want to, donate to the funds, follow my Twitter. I'll post the info there. Buy me a drink.
Go to her Venmo and send her.
Oh, I know. I should send my Venmo
some
in the
drinkies
chat.
money.
Yeah,
send me money to drink. I don't know. You might get some fun videos on your timelines. Who knows how I feel.
Amira asked, how can you watch live without cable? If you're talking about House of the Dragon, you will be able to watch that on HBO Max.
Yes.
HBO Max. So we won't be back next week, but we will be back the week after, and then we should be good to go back on our regular schedule, but like holiday stuff coming up. And yeah, so we're all
Actually,
done.
I wanted to say a quick thank you to Reflective Rambling. They are always offering to send super chats for people's questions that aren't being answered, and I think that is like the sweetest thing ever. They did it for someone earlier, but they offer every single week, and it's so kind of you. Thank you so much for all of that.
Yes, super, super sweet. All right, guys. You have a good weekend, and don't forget to buy Aura a drink. The Bean Mo is in the chat.
And
Yes,
drop your sun emojis in the chat.
Your book, she meant.
Oh, one more time.
Beautiful flowers.
One more time. Bad pussy. Good night, guys.
Penis.
Oh, wait. Hold on. I was going to read it out loud. The Venmo is Arizona_Bachelorette Trip 2021. Look how simple that is.
_ bad pussy.
What is it?
Well, it's Arizona, but my friends like to say Arizona.
So ARI is capitalized.
Yes.
Arizona _ Bachelorette Trip 2021. Venmo her, get her drunk. Bachelorette party.
Say
Cash up in my Twitter bio.
Say Venmo one more time.
Yeah.
Venmo.
Venmo.
I don't have it, so I don't know what it's called.
It's
Cash at
Venmo.
me. Cash app, hashtag Aura92.
Where are you from? Love the accent.
Baltimore. Okay.
All right.
Venmo her. All right. Bye,
Bad
guys.
Good night, everyone.
Bad pussy.